This is KTVO's Good Morning Heartland.
So for pet owners out there, we know that our pets love to get into things, but sometimes the things they can get into can actually be really toxic. So this morning we have Dr. Lindquist from Lindquist Veterinary Clinic in Kirksville here this morning to break down some of the things we should keep out of reach and what we should do if our pets accidentally get into them. So how are you doing this morning?
I am great. A little chilly, like you said.
It is
but
chilly.
Good. We are glad to see this is going to just have its last week here, and we're going to just move on to wonderful things. Yes,
Fingers crossed.
Super.
All right, so let's go ahead, and obviously we know that medication and stuff can be very toxic. And so does this include both pills and liquid?
Absolutely.
Like, cough syrup and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and talk about other toxins for our animals.
Okay, all right. So we did bring some of these just for to elucidate this to folks, because some of the prescription meds people take, some of those are similar in pets, but the dosages are not similar. So we did want to just remind folks, even though you may see that this looks similar, the doses aren't similar. And if you do get those mixed up, please call us about that, because there are things that we can do to help the pets out with that. And sometimes if those spill on the floor, we need to take care of that.
So what are some symptoms that we'll find if our dogs accidentally consume medication?
A lot of times neurologic type signs, GI type signs, vomiting, diarrhea, those, and sometimes we don't know about that right away if pill happened to have skittered away.
Right.
And so we just want to try to take care of those as quickly as possible. One of the more unusual calls that we got was that the patient, or the client, so to speak, the person, had their pills out and had the pet's pills, and they took the pet pills. And the pet took their pills. And so in that case, you need to call your human physician about that, about what you should do about your pet's pills, and we'll take care of the pet's options on that.
All right.
So that's one thing we want to make sure folks will do about that.
So now let's go ahead and talk about this, because I know that, we usually keep these, underneath our sinks, and sometimes, our dogs can get really clever and open up those cabinets.
Right.
So what are some things that we should definitely keep out of reach?
Well, and these type of things can be really caustic, and the reason I really brought this in particular is that they look like a lot of fun. They scoot across the floor, and if they puncture these, then those can cause a lot of GI irritation going down with the esophagus. And even though the standard thought that everyone has, we need to make them vomit, and that's what they will see information maybe on the internet, this can cause as much damage coming back as it did going down in the first place.
Wow.
And so this is one of the products in particular you do not want to induce vomiting, okay? Because the GI ulcerations that will go along with that, and that's going to ulcerate all the way down.
Wow.
And it's especially important whenever you have a product like this that you have the bottle available for us, and if you call Poison Control, that you tell them exactly what product, because all these products, they're great on the clog or whatever you're using them for. They're really tough on animals. They all have different chemical products in there, and so we have to treat them specifically to what they've got in there.
Okay, and what about sprays? I see you have a spray over here.
And the reason these are different, because you don't always know exactly that your pet's gotten into these, because you may have treated an area, you think it's dry, you think it's in good shape, but there may be little puddles of that somewhere, and as your pet walks through that and then goes to groom themselves, then you may notice that later. Whereas this will cause a GI ulceration, a vomiting, a diarrhea, that type of thing. And this is more like a neurologic type of sign that you're going to notice. Dizzy, disoriented, dazed, confused. That's how it acts on the insects here. And so, sometimes it's a little bit delayed, so you may not notice this. And so whenever we're asking you, is there any way your pet could have gotten into anything, you're thinking, no, not really, because you don't notice
the
that,
culprit.
Right, that maybe they were chasing the spider or whatever it was you were spraying here.
You have socks here.
I do have socks here, because these are something almost everybody wears socks, and sometimes 3 pair this time of year. And as far as stinky things go, your pet would really rather you bring a nasty, stinky carcass home for them, but this is the closest you're going to bring home. And so you would be surprised at the number of times that we have to, this is toxic for a dog if they get this down in their gut, and we have to go in surgically and take these out. And so we just want to really have folks make sure they keep these gathered up so that these aren't ingested.
My question is, I've read on the internet that some people have covered like a plastic water bottle with an old sock. Do you recommend that?
Actually, I don't, because this encourages dogs to have the idea that it is okay to go take a sock. And then it's okay to go take a plastic bottle, because now we have a plastic bottle maybe you didn't intend for them to get a hold of. Well, this is plastic, that's plastic, and sometimes not all the dogs are cognizant enough to realize this is okay because you gave it to me. This one's not okay because it doesn't contain water. This one contains something I really shouldn't have.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and talk about these.
Okay. These are plants. This is a peace lily, actually. Obviously not the best bloom here. I'm not the best horticulturalist.
That's okay.
But you do want to try to avoid some of the house plants. Some of the house plants that the pets get into can cause different neurologic signs or actual ulcerations, pain in the mouth where they chew on them. You want to try to keep an eye on your seasonal plants. Your mistletoe, Easter lilies, rhododendrons are especially toxic. Again, GI signs, vomiting, diarrhea, pain in the mouth where they've actually chewed on those. Neurologic signs are going to be, again, signs of those are going to be big culprits on that. And that one's actually from outside. It's amazing to me how green this plant is this time of year.
Yeah.
This is from my yard. But this is from the family of the Japanese yew. These are really popular amongst landscapers because they are in just very hardy type of plants, and they do very well as shrubbery. But the animals get to chewing on them because it's the only green thing left this time of year, or folks are nice enough to trim them and throw them over the fence to the horses. Very toxic to those animals. And so that's definitely something to keep an eye on also as being a toxic plant.
And really quickly, because we are running out of time,
Sure.
oven bags.
These oven bags, these things are a gift from who knows where, because they put these in either in the oven or in your slow cookers, and then they have all these juices in them left in them, and you just put them in the trash, which completely and totally attracts your dog to the trash.
Yes.
And then it gets in all those other things, but he can't separate the bag from the juices, and he's just taking all that down.
So be extra careful if you do use those.
Right, all those things. And we just did want to mention the cookies real quick, just because even though the cocoa, the chocolate's way far down in the list.
It's still not good.
Right, still not good. There's one of these, the serving size on this is 9 cookies. Who eats just 9 of these?
Not me.
Right.
I ate the whole bag.
Right, exactly. That's the serving size, but they're so little you think I'll just give one to my little 15-pound dog.
Still
Right.
not a good idea.
The average person weighs 150 pounds, so if you give 3 or 4 of these, and then suddenly your little dog's had lots and lots of these, and so that's toxic. You're killing him with kindness.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Lindquist, for coming on. What we'll do is we'll
Thank
post
you.
everything on our website at heartlandconnection.com, and we'll link up your information if they have any questions. Okay?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for
Thank
having me.
you, and we'll be right back.